Hi there, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Rossy and today is day 23 of our Nativity Advent Calendar. Today I'm sharing how to make this cute little villager. I hope you like this project. Let's get started. To begin, we're going to use this template and we're only going to need a cutout for the face. Everything else we won't need a cutout for. Now we're going to start with the face. So for that, I'm going to need 1/4 of a teaspoon in a skin color clay of your choice. I'm also setting aside 1/8 of a teaspoon for the hands in that same color. Now I just grab that measurement for the face, knead it thoroughly, shape it into a ball, and then make it a little bit flat. And then just like we've done for all the previous figurines, I'm defining the face features, separating the cheeks from the space for the eyes, and then just placing the cutout on top and outlining all the key features. So eyebrows, eyes, nostrils, and mouth. Just like that. And this is just for a general idea of where we'll be placing all of our different face features. And now I'm just using my rubber brush to highlight the sides of the lips and the nostrils, and then going back in there with a sort of knife tool or spatula tool to start defining the mouth and the lips. Just like that. And just smoothing everything down after each line. Now I'm defining that upper lip a little bit more. And then just going over all our sculpting as many times as needed. In this case, remember, he's going to have a beard, and when we do that, the top lip might not be as noticeable. So we're not going to pay too much attention to it, but I'm still defining it in case it is visible. Now I just get a little bit of glue to add the nose. And just getting a small piece of clay, placing it above the mouth. And we're just going to make that proportionate to our face. Just like that. And just going in with my rubber brush to make the nostrils again and blend everything at the top. Now I'm going to place the ears on each side. Just like that. Just attaching them to the side and making an indent with a little bit of pressure to give it that ear shape and to secure them to the face. Now I'm going to paint the whites for the eyes, but before I move on to that, I'm just going to go in and add some shading. So I'm just going to get this light orange color and going around the mouth and the cheeks, lightly brushing it there. And then very lightly on the forehead and the ears. Just like that. Now we can move on to the eyes. So now I'm just getting my white acrylic paint and my liner brush. And then I'm going to follow those lines we made earlier when we traced over a cutout. Just like that. Painting one and then painting the other one. And just making sure they're both relatively even. So they're as proportionate as possible. Just like that. Now we're going to let that dry. And while it dries, I'm going to start working on the hands. So I'm just getting that 1/8 of a teaspoon I set aside earlier, kneading it thoroughly, stretching it into this cylinder. I just cut that in half. And I'm going to get both hands from one of these halves. And again, kneading it and making it into a cylinder, then making it more narrow in the center, having these two wide spheres on both ends, then highlighting the wrists, and then making those ends flat. This is where we're going to go in and make a triangle cut to get the thumb. Just like that. Now I'm just going to round that out so we don't have jagged ends. And then I'm going to make 3 more cuts to get the remaining 4 fingers. And also round them out. Just like that. And then using a rubber brush, I'm going underneath the end to give that palm the rounded natural shape. And just doing the same thing on the other hand. Now I'm going to make this slightly more into a fist and then just split them apart in the middle and set them aside to dry. Now once the white area on the eyes is dry, I'm going to get my paints one more time, brown paint and black paint. And using a pinhead, I'm going to add those 2 brown dots for the irises. And in this case, again, using a ball tool that's smaller than the pinhead, I'm going to add a black dot on each eye. So it's going to be the pupil, and making sure we don't cover the entire iris. Just like that. And now I'm just going to go back in and make the eyebrows. I'm using a eyeliner brush for this. Just like that. And now I'm going to go in and use that black acrylic paint, watered down, and make the outline for the eyes. And again, this paint is watered down just so the brush can glide easily as we make this outline. Just like that. Now we're going to let that dry. And while it dries, I'm going to start working on the beard. For that, I'm getting 1/8 of a teaspoon in black clay. And I'm just going to stretch it out enough to fit in that cutout. Remember to knead it thoroughly first. And I'm using this rolling pin just to roll it out. And I just added that cutout to the template to make sure you know that we're going to cut out this piece as well. And remember, the template is free and available on my website. Now I'm just cutting all around. Remember to cut from the center or from the middle towards the outside, just so we get those cleaner lines. We still have to clean them up afterwards. But this is a great way to do it if you don't have cutters specific for each thing, and that way you also don't need cutters for each specific thing. You can get a template and just follow it along and create your own for different projects. Just like that. Now we're going to continue with the face. So I have the face back here. Once it's dry, I'm going to go back in and get some white acrylic paint, and using a toothpick, just adding that small dot for some shine. Adding more if we see that they're not as even as we want them to be. And then I'm just going to attach the beard by adding some glue to the bottom of the face. So around the chin, I'll just remove the excess there. And then just wrapping it around the bottom of the face, in front of the ears. Just like that. And I'm just going to cut it off a little bit so it's a bit smaller. A bit shorter. Just like that. And now we're going to make the mustache. For that, I'm just getting the small piece of clay, stretching it out into this sort of cylinder, making a line down the center without cutting it all the way. Then dabbing it into a little bit of glue and placing it over the top lip right under the nose. And that's it. Now the beard, the mustache, and the face are ready. And now we're just going to place it on a toothpick and set it aside to dry. Now we're going to continue working on the body. For the body, we need 1/2 of a teaspoon in this brown clay, kneading that thoroughly. And we're going to shape it into a drop or a cone. I'm going to make a hole at the bottom, and then that's just going to help me stretch out the bottom of the robe, make it wider. And we're going to keep it there so we can go in with my bone tool and start adding some folds. You can also use a toothpick for this or a crochet needle. And I'm just making that line around the waist too, since we're going to be adding that sort of belt rope. Making sure we add the folds all around. Now we're going to go in and add a toothpick in the center of our robe. Making sure it doesn't stick out of the bottom of the piece. And then just making a slanted cut at the top of the toothpick. And just going back in and highlighting the waist area. Just like that. And now I'm going to start working on the arms. So for each arm, I'm using 1/8 of a teaspoon. Just kneading that thoroughly, shaping it into a ball, and then making this sort of rounded cone. Then using a start tool, I insert it into the widest part of her sleeve, just to make it wider. And then while it's still there, I start adding some folds at the bottom part of the sleeve and around the area where the elbow would be. And we're going to do the same thing for the other one, and then using a little bit of glue, we're going to attach the arms into, well, the hands into the arms. And we're going to do the same thing for both. Just like that. Now, before we attach this to the body, we're going to make that belt. For that, I'm getting this small piece of green clay, stretching it out, making a very long string, and then making it flat with my rolling pin. This is 1/2 of 1/8 of a teaspoon of green clay. Then I'm just going to wrap it around the waist, meeting it on one of the sides, in this case the right side, from where we're working, and then just cutting off the excess at the bottom. And then once we've done that, I'm just going to go in and add some lines for some texture and detail. And now we can go in and attach the arms. So I'm just using a little bit of glue, remembering to keep that left arm, currently on our right, slightly bent since he's going to be holding something. And the other one is just facing down, just a bit closer to the body. And now we're just going to make the shawl that's going to be across the body. For this, I'm measuring 1/2 of a teaspoon in this sort of beige color, stretching it out, and then using my rolling pin to make it flat. Just like that. I'm just going to give it some texture by adding some lines all the way across. They don't need to be completely even or parallel, since this is sort of like mimicking folds on the fabric. And I'm just wrapping it all around from one shoulder underneath the other arm and then all the way to the back. And I'm going to make this one a bit thicker. Just placing it side by side and adding some more lines to blend both pieces together. Just like that. And then giving it some more texture and just wrapping it all around. And again, all the way from the shoulder, underneath the arms, and meeting it at the back. Just like that. And now we can go back and attach the head. So remove that toothpick and insert it into the toothpick we have on the robe. Just like that. Now, since he'll be carrying some sort of stick to hold water buckets, I'm going to place it already so we can start shaping that arm and adding some more texture to the shawl. Just like that. And I'm just going to cover the head with some black clay to make the hair. I'm measuring 1/2 teaspoon. Shaping that into a ball and then make it a bit hollow using the back of a measuring spoon. And it's thinner at the lower part and then a bit thicker at the top, so we can go in and add the texture without losing a large amount of clay. And I'm just gonna give it some texture. Start brushing his hair. Going to make the part slightly to the side. And just following the natural line of the hair all around. Just like that. And if you want, you can stop right here. This figurine looks good enough. But now I'm just going to go in and add some more detail. You can also add a veil, for example, if you wanted to, like we did with the other figurines. Now in this case, since he's going to be carrying something, I'm going to focus on that. And that's the next step, just by removing both ends of the toothpick. And then I painted this using brown acrylic paint to make it darker. And now I can attach it to the hand, supported by the shoulder, and then going around the back of the head. And adding some more glue on the back of the body so this toothpick can stay in place. Curving that hand as needed to make sure everything looks nice and proportionate. Like he is really holding that. Just like that. Now we're going to add some of this string. In this case, I'm using, once again, some jute. And I'm just going to measure them to make sure they are the length I want them to be in order to have the final length for my buckets. Just adding some glue here and folding that string in half. And then making a knot to secure it in place. Just like that. And on the other side, I'm doing the same thing. And for each little bucket or jar, I'm getting 1/8 teaspoon in this colored clay. I knead that thoroughly, shape it into a ball, then stretch it out into a cylinder, and then I'm going to cut it in half and then half again. Now for the top part, I'll be using one of these 4 pieces, and for the bottom part, I'm using the 3 remaining pieces. And as you can see, I just made that into a cone shape. keeping it flat at the bottom, and I'm gonna make a hole at the narrowest point. And with this other fourth piece I have here, I shape that into a drop or cone, and then make a hole at the top, making it wider using this star tool, and then just adding a line all around to give it some texture, highlighting the top of our little bottle or jar. And then using a little bit of glue, I'm going to attach both pieces together, just like that. Now I'm going to attach a little bit of this string again all around. Now I'm just going to add some glue around our piece and add the string all around it to get the accurate measurement. And I'm going to start by gluing the jar into place. And over these strings, I'm going to go in and add the final string. I'm going to go around it twice, so it's nice and secure, making a small knot. Just like that. And now we have one of them ready, and we can cut off the excess. Just like that. And now we have this jar all set. I'm trying to keep it slightly lifted, making sure it doesn't hit the ground so we can actually see that it's being held up by our little figurine. And I just made the same process on the other one. Now that we have that, it's going to look like this, and we have our little figurine all complete. Now we're all set. I hope you like this project. My name is Rossy Rivera. Thank you for watching. Many blessings.